Hi, you've just tuned in. Don't forget to subscribe to the RSS with HD, turn on the notification and leave your comments. This is the RSS with HD. Hello everyone, welcome to a special edition of the RSS with HD Extended. I'm Rashid, Salleh, your host, and of course joining me the two guys from 2213. We've got Rashid, my regular partner, rather on this side, and Graig Nunis, who has been very worried to find out whether Liverpool is ever going to win the league. So thank you guys for joining us. Firstly, Graig, tell us what's been happening the past week. And we'll go into much detail in a bit.
Yeah, the past week we've been focusing more on the frontliners that are helping with the coronavirus. It's been quite good because we had some very great stories on the website 2213. Very well received by people because we got very good responses, good shares, good views. So advertisers out there, please understand of getting good views. But today I'm a bit sad because John Prine has passed away from coronavirus. And I think I've mentioned before that he was one of my heroes, because not just because he writes good songs, but the stories behind them. And all three of us here are storytellers, so we enjoy hearing stuff that it's not just about you love me, he tells about the common things that folks all face, the problems, marriage, breakup, rich, poor, and all that. So it's good storytelling. And I'm actually quite sad, even though I'm not wearing black today.
Right. Before we carry on with you, Harish, I heard you made one of these nowadays it's rare in the past few weeks, a rare run outside of home to Putrajaya. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Well, it was in relation to the National Press Club of Malaysia's latest initiative. We regard journalists as frontliners as well, for they are out there on the road, on the streets, attending press conferences and getting updates for the people, for the masses. And one thing that we've realized is quite a number of them, including the freelancers, and no fault of their organizations, it's because they are coming from their homes direct to the location. So they don't have enough face masks, sanitizers, and those essential kits. So what we have done is at the National Press Club is we've allocated a certain amount of funds for this. We purchased face masks, hand sanitizers, and soap, and we gave out during the just before the health DG's press conference at the ministry yesterday. We've also been giving out allowances to our elders and those in need of some form of financial assistance during this trying time. So it's part of the NPC's initiative.
That's good to know that they know that at least a National Press Club is active during this trying times and situation as well. Okay. Graig, there was a few stories that was highlighted. Obviously, one of the biggest one, and also in science, was Malaysia's largest exhibition. The maps turned into the hospital in 4 days. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, this one, our managing editor Pearly had a conversation with Nora, Harish also as well, and she explained how they took 4 days to turn. Because if you've been to Maps, you've seen the halls are huge. We went, I think, a year ago to have a look.
Yeah.
So I was blown away because I didn't know we had so much space, and people use it for normally car shows. There was a go-kart race there as well, if I'm not mistaken. So now obviously now there is no sports going on, no exhibitions because of social distancing. So they hit upon the idea that why go to waste? Let's do something. So they had the brainstorming session and they came up with, okay, let's turn it into a temporary hospital because we need more beds. if you look at the numbers, we've been lucky compared to like America, China, of course, and then Spain and France. Our numbers are still manageable, but they're taking precautions, in case we need more beds. So there's 4,000 beds, if I'm not mistaken.
600 beds.
600 beds, sorry. 600 beds, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at least there's some place for patients if it's needed.
Yeah.
Right. In terms of this was another heartwarming story that I read on your website. The one with designer Bill Keith, Harish. That was. And are they still looking for people? Just explain what the story is all about to the audience, and then what are we doing about it?
Well, Bill Keith is a fashion designer, and he has led this crew of misfits from a lawyer, a volunteer at the Temple of Fine Arts. You've got a insurance executive, even a doctor. Now, what all of them have in common is their enthusiasm to assist the frontliners. So here you have a classic tale of heroes wanting to help the heroes. So it's times like this where we see the best in many of us, and this Magnificent Seven, as we call them, have been they've gathered over the weekend to help sew PPE. Now that's the protective equipment where our frontliners use, and there is a shortage. So this group, and they are joined by many others as well. We are seeing similar initiatives throughout the nation with other fashion designers, other notable personalities. But yeah, I mean, they are helping out the frontliners at Sungai Buloh Hospital, and we managed to speak to not only Bill Keith, but also to some of the volunteers who are helping out. And it's funny because they are operating at this workshop in Saito University. As you know, universities, they have very technical equipment and machinery.
That's right.
And the six of them were like, "What are these equipment?" So instead, they went home and they brought their sewing machines. And they said, "This is something that we recognize and we can." So yeah, it's fun.
But you know what the funny thing is, these type of skills are dying. You've realized that there's a lot of people out there who don't know how to sew. I mean, I remember my mum, bless her, she used to have like 2 sewing machines. She can still sew and hand sew at time, but they're totally different generation. We're talking about people, even our generation below. It's a dying. We're realizing now, are these skills needed to be revived? Graig, I mean, I don't know whether you can sew, but is this something that we should teach in school again? What do you think of that?
Yeah, you should. I mean, I can sew very basic, but most of the big jobs leave to the wife because she's very good at sewing.
Yeah, she is.
So Harish has seen some of the stuff, but they say, these life skills, that we need to bring forward instead of just talking about chemistry and all that.
Right.
Which after you leave school, I think 99% of us will not bother to remember, or will definitely forget. Something like sewing, cooking, especially now if you look on Facebook and Twitter and other social media, everybody is showing off their cooking skills.
Well, except for one, Harish. I'm still waiting for Harish to boil an egg. I don't know whether that's ever going to happen because we've heard rumors of his cooking skills.
Yeah, he actually burn water.
No, I'm surrounded by good cooks. I don't see the need. But anyway, life skills are already being taught in schools.
Not this kind of skills.
Sadly, it's not taken seriously. Okay. Yeah. Both of you are having fun.
Yes, because I do cook, so I know how to sew as well. But on a more serious note, is it something that we should bring back to the schools? Because I know pandemics happen every 100 years, but is it good? Because of course we come from a world of technology and the sort, but do we, because of what's happened now, is it very important for the younger generation to be able to learn these sort of skills?
Rashid, to be fair, life skills are already being taught in school. It's called kemahiran hidup. Sadly, it's not taken seriously because it's not seen as a core subject. And the thing is that what is kemahiran hidup all about? Like you said, when it comes to times like this, that we realize how cooking is so important. It is so important not only to put food on your table literally, but it's also important as a means to make money in this trying times where people are losing their jobs, and the one thing that they can immediately fall back on is to cook for somebody else. As we all know, education and food are two businesses that they will never die lah. Regardless what happens. So that's one. And the other thing is, when you talk about life skills, it's amazing whereby you take things for granted, you take people for granted. When you send someone to the supermarket at the head of family, for example, and they become lost. Pearl was just telling me about how, some of the men that were shopping during her recent visit to the hypermarket, and she said that they were all scrambling, like simple things, and there's no laughing matter. Sanitary pads, for example, for their wives, they don't even know. Okay, wings, no wings. What do we do with it? real problems.
It's true.
We
had those problems like 20 years ago, and still having problems 20 years on.
Diapers for the kids, for example, don't know what size.
Exactly. Yeah, because we've never had to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Do we buy the? Okay. I'm an expert in that area, so I can't say we, but I know there are a lot of people out there who go like, okay, does my child use the ones with the flap, or is it the pants?
Exactly.
So this kind of thing.
So many things.
So you take things for granted. What is your favorite mihun brand that you cook at home?
Yeah. Well, this is thing. It's like how on if you flip it. Put a, and I'm not. I mean, this is generalization. Is not picking on women, but put a woman in a hardware store, she'll get lost.
No, you know what? Judging by what I'm seeing in recent days, judging by what I'm seeing in recent days, I think a woman would do better in a hardware shop than some of the guys.
They will do now because they're the head of the house and they're forced to go out and look for the hardware. Whereas we've taken it for granted. I probably wouldn't know my way around a hardware store anymore because I've hardly been out.
Yeah. I mean, the keyword here is we've been taking things for granted lah.
And the good thing is hardware stores are now allowed to open twice a week. So at least Mondays and Thursdays. So at least that's one good thing because I need to fix my sink.
Okay. Yeah, that's another life skill as well. Basic fixing basic stuff. And I think Graig mentioned this is one of his diary, whereby a friend of his who is also a reader of 2213 actually fixed the washing machine.
Yeah, correct. He ordered the part because that time the shops were not allowed to open, so he ordered it online, and he fixed his washing machine, which is not done, I think, forever. So that was like the first time he learned it on YouTube, and he did it. So that was good.
Wow, that was really, really good. Right, before we go on the numbers and all that, quick question, Graig. What are the local Liverpool fans thinking at the moment? Because we don't see any end to this COVID-19. Of course, the UK is just getting into the swing of things, especially with their Prime Minister being taken seriously ill, apparently according to the BBC reports. But as a football fan, and even more as a Liverpool fan, how frustrated are you guys, and what's the discussion between you guys?
We are hopeful it will continue, but I think some of us have resigned to the fact that it might be cancelled. But the problem is the EPL. It's all about the money. So if the league is cancelled, I think they have to pay back something like 600 million pounds to the broadcasters, and I don't think the clubs want to give back the money, or the EPL itself. So one of the options given is to play behind closed doors, starting in May or June. Play 3 times a week or twice a week, because there's only another 9 to 10 games left.
Exactly.
So you can finish it within a month, and then you start next season, maybe a month or two later. And don't forget, Euro has been postponed. 2022 World Cup is going to be screwed up because it's going to be December instead of June. Perfect time to rearrange the schedules and the calendars of the world. So, but we're just hoping to win.
It's so frustrating and so sad because they've taken so long just to get there, and they were comfortable, and suddenly COVID-19 turns up and screws everything up. It's almost like an omen. We're saying in the UFC, Tony Ferguson and Khabib have prior to this 4 times either cancelled their fights, and the 5th time is supposed to be this month, and they're not meeting up again. So yeah, Liverpool seems to have the same fate. So yeah,
the thing is, if the gap was smaller, it won't feel so bad. But 25 points and you're going to cancel the league, that's very frustrating.
I know, especially where you're miles ahead of everyone else. Okay,
2-3 points I wouldn't mind so much.
Exactly. I mean, that would be a different scenario altogether. Before we wrap up with the numbers, before we end the show, let's wrap up with the numbers. Game. What's going on with the numbers right now as we speak? Before, obviously, the announcement today.
We've got close to Graig, close to 4,000 cases, 63 deaths, but more importantly, we would like to extend our condolences to those who have lost their family members. But more importantly, it's something that Graig and I were discussing earlier. The recovery rate. That looks promising. We are at 32% at the moment, and hopefully, we will see more people recovering from this. But having said that, remember we started the show with frontliners. Our biggest fear is that the movement control order would not end anytime soon. Judging by the tone, judging by the body language of the health DG yesterday, and also judging by what we are hearing from various parties.
Right.
Yeah, and this would mean frontliners having to put the extra hours for a longer period. So we can't thank them enough. We also have the heroes supporting the frontliners, people like Bill Keith and his Magnificent Seven. We just can only pray for the best and really hope for things to just get better. Wuhan, after the lockdown in January 23rd, today is slowly showing signs of coming back to what they were.
They opened the borders today. They're allowing people to come out.
That's after 3 months?
76 days.
Yeah. So it's like what to quote our health director general, Datuk Sri Dr. Nur Hisham yesterday. It's not going to be a sprint, that's for sure. It's going to be a marathon, and it's going to be one long marathon.
Yeah. Well, let's hope everyone sticks to being at home. That's the most important thing. We've had obviously around friends and on WhatsApp we've heard clusters of extended MCOs and all that, but let's just hope that all this we are slowly seeing the flattening of the curve. Well, you know what, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. It's been great. I hope to see you guys, and hopefully with another guest next week. So we can have a good banter to find out whether he's a Liverpool fan or otherwise. But
we may need to get a female. So people say we are menals.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, speak for yourself. Okay. Anyway,
Arish is a woman, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Long hair.
And have you noticed that he's shaved?
Oh,
I didn't want to say anything, but that was the last thing I wanted to he actually looks clean for once. After
what do you mean for once?
Well, actually, let's not talk about that. We'll have that conversation another time. But thank you very much again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, guys. If you do have any comments, do leave it down in our comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the RSS with HD on our YouTube channel, and also click on the notification so that you can get the latest news from us right here on the RSS with HD. I'm Rashid Salleh, and see you again. Bye.